Egypt's president and Bahrain's crown prince firmly reject the displacement of Palestinians. Israeli finance minister threatens to dismantle the Palestinian Authority. And Israeli drones drop 4 grenades near UN interim force in Lebanon personnel. The news in full with Mihal Al-Hamalawi. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has reassured Egyptians of the state's vigilance and awareness of surrounding threats, emphasizing Egypt's enduring security and dignity despite persistent challenges. Speaking at the Al-Mawlid al-Nabawi celebration attended by top officials, President al-Sisi highlighted Egypt's steadfastness, reliance on its people's resilience, and trust in divine support to ensure stability nationwide. The event featured Quranic recitation, speeches, poetry, and songs honoring the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. President al-Sisi also honored distinguished scholars and awarded a heroic citizen who sacrificed his life to save others during a fuel station fire. The president's message underscored Egypt's unity, strength, and unwavering commitment to safeguarding its people and values. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has firmly rejected the displacement of Palestinians. This came during his meeting with Bahrain's Crown Prince and Prime Minister Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, where they stressed the urgent need to rebuild Gaza and revive peace talks for an independent Palestinian state within the June 4, 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. During their meeting at Egypt's Al-Ittihadiyya Palace, they praised the deep historic ties between their nations and emphasized strengthening bilateral cooperation, especially in economic and investment sectors. They also discussed regional stability, commending Egypt's efforts to restore calm in Gaza and highlighting the importance of respecting the sovereignty and unity of all regional states. Egypt and Palestine have underscored the urgent need for intensified regional and international pressure on Israel to halt its brutal war on Gaza and to accept the Cairo-Doha ceasefire proposal, which aligns with the U.S. envoy's plan. In a meeting between Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati and Palestinian Vice President both sides condemned Israel's use of starvation as a weapon and firmly rejected the forced displacement of Palestinians and the expansion of Israeli military operations. They also denounced illegal Israeli settlement activities in the West Bank, especially in the E1 area. The talks highlighted ongoing Egyptian-Palestinian coordination to rally global support for broader recognition of a Palestinian state, reaffirming Egypt's unwavering commitment to Palestinian rights and statehood. And for more analysis, we now move to Riham Morsi, who is in our newsroom. To you, Riham.
Thank you, Heather. To help us analyze this meeting, we're joined from Cairo by the international relations expert, Mohammed Osman. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Qnews. Sir, firstly, let's start off by asking, in what ways does Egypt and Bahrain's shared commitment to rebuilding Gaza affect the regional power dynamics?
Thank you for having me, Riham. As we have seen, President al-Sisi has received the Crown Prince of Bahrain today, and both nations at the summit level have expressed their unequivocal support for Palestinian rights. They also reiterated the basic tenets of the Egyptian and the Arab stance on the conflict in Gaza, calling for the facilitation of humanitarian aid completely and utterly rejecting all the ideas and the notions of the forced displacement or the voluntary displacement of the Palestinians from their ancestral land, whether in Gaza or in the West Bank. And they also stressed the fact that the only solution to the Palestine-Israel conflict is a two-state solution. And of course, this comes in light with the incoming conference that will take that is supposed to take place in New York in September, under the France, Saudi Arabia, and several other Arab countries, including Egypt, that that intend to push forward the recognition of the Palestinian state and for the two-state solution. So it seems that this summit at this moment, Rehan, seeks to support and supplement these efforts.
Well, sir, as you said there, this is an effort of support, basically. So to what extent can bilateral ties between Egypt and Bahrain serve as a model for Arab unity and solidarity in general when it comes to the Gaza crisis?
Of course, it is a manifestation of Arab solidarity. It is a very strong model. Egypt and Bahrain enjoy a cordial relationship. Both have a relationship of mutual confidence and mutual trust. There is a huge array of fields that the two countries cooperate in, whether in the fields of economy or the security or regional affairs. And it seems that their stance on the Palestinian problem or the Palestinian cause, and also their stance on various regional issues are almost identical. So therefore, it is a model of Arab solidarity, and Egypt enjoys a very cordial relationship with all of its Arab brethren, its sister Arab countries, especially the countries in the Gulf, whether it's Bahrain or Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates. Egypt enjoys a very strong strategic relationship with these countries, and of course, this serves to enhance regional stability in an increasingly troubled region.
So, sir, do you think that these efforts or these meetings that are taking place with a number of, Arab statesmen, is it a way to prepare for the upcoming meeting in New York, where they're going to show a solid front, I suppose, or come up with a solid, unified idea of how to end the violence in Gaza?
Of course, this is an attempt to pressure, to try to coordinate Arab efforts in order to further pressure Israel and even the United States to take more substantive measures towards the ending of the carnage in Gaza. There is a vision for ending the day after the war that Egypt has proposed, which is the Arab Islamic Gaza Reconstruction Plan, which was endorsed by the Arab Summit in Cairo and also by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and by the United Nations, the European Union, China, Russia, the international community pretty much. However, it was rejected by the Americans. Yes. And now the Americans, it seems, according to reports that were leaked to the American media, seek to put Gaza under some sort of trusteeship, which is basically the implementation of Netanyahu's genocidal goals in Gaza by basically ethnically cleansing Gaza from Palestinians. So it seems that there is an Arab diplomatic effort in order to attempt to pressure the Israelis and the Americans not to veer towards this course. And of course, it will remain to be seen how the conference in New York will transpire, especially that the Americans are trying to ruin it from the beginning. For starters, they are preventing the Palestinians from attending.
But isn't there a mandate whereby this has happened in the past, whereby they move or convene these meetings in Geneva rather than New York then, if this happens? They're allowed to do this in the UN.
Yeah, but this could be a very possible scenario, and I think it will be suitable. They should allow the United States to violate international law in this manner in order to obstruct this conference. There are two other headquarters for the New York. The two others are in Geneva and in Vienna. So there are a variety of options in order to move forward with the conference. U.S. intransigence and unilateralism
should be stopped. I understand that point, sir. But like, as you said, Egypt has tirelessly worked towards trying or attempting to restore calm in Gaza and interacting with other regional players, in addition to international partners as well. How does Egypt's mediation in Gaza reflect on regional leadership and ambitions in general? And do you not see some sort of winds blowing in the Western region as well? We're starting to see other countries starting to, admit that there is a Palestinian state and Palestinians have rights and so forth. Is this not due to Egyptian efforts?
How Egypt interacted and dealt with the Gaza conflict served as a model for responsible regional leadership. Egypt is a moderate country. Egypt is a country that formulates its foreign policy, and its foreign policy moves within the premises of international law and its international obligations. So therefore, Egypt enjoys the trust of most of the sides, if not all of the sides, of the conflict in conflicts in the Middle East in general. So this responsible Egyptian policy does serve as a model for leadership. And if we compare it to other models in the region of other countries, without going into details and names, other countries have used very inflammatory rhetoric and have vowed to do this and that for Palestine. At the end of the day, those countries themselves were bombed. So it was rather counterproductive, and it did not serve the Palestinians in any shape or form. Other countries do enjoy making very grand statements, while on the ground and behind the scenes they mingle with Israel and deepen their interests. Egypt's policy is very crystal clear. Egypt is committed to the two-state solution, to a ceasefire in Gaza, to a full Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, for the replacement of Hamas's authority with the Palestinian Authority through a committee, a communal committee that Egypt has proposed and was endorsed by the Palestinian side. This is Egypt's vision, and of course Egypt is very keen, of course, on facilitating the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. So you can see that Egypt's policy is entirely based on humane foundations, and also on the foundations of peace and enhancing stability.
Also, as you said there, that Egypt's policies in general are humane and well-balanced towards the Palestinian cause. Now, how do you see this policy in shaping international standing as well as influencing the upcoming global forums? Do you think that this will be something that may somehow form a united front, internationally speaking, other than obviously the Israelis and the Americans, towards pushing for Palestinians and their rights?
Egypt has played a very important role already in mustering support for the Palestinian cause. Many of the new recognitions of Palestine by European countries were partially, at least, due to Egyptian pressure and Egyptian lobbying in this regard. In international forums like the United Nations and others, Egypt has been a very strong advocate of Palestinian rights and has always pushed for the recognition of Palestinian statehood and for more pushing toward, or more pressure on Israel and the Americans in order to enact the two-state solution. This is something that Egypt is entirely committed to. Egypt did succeed in forming a grand front at this stage. However, this front needs its actions needs to go beyond rhetoric. It needs to go beyond words and take action. Egypt on itself will not be able to take all the action on its own. Egypt is already taking action, and of course it's not sufficient in the face of a strong imperial power like the United States and Israel. So therefore the Europeans, the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, Africa, the Arab world, everyone needs to step up their game and put more pressure on Israel and the Americans as well, in order to reach a peaceful settlement in Gaza and also move forward with the peace process for the implementation of the two-state solution.
Well, here's to hoping that they find a united front to stop the violence there. That was Mohammed Osman from Cairo, an international relations expert. Thank you so much for joining us here on Q News. And now we go back to you, Hala Hamadewi, in our studio.
Thank you so much, Riham. Now we move to the latest developments in Gaza. Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has threatened to dismantle the Palestinian Authority, similar to the destruction seen in Gaza. Speaking at a press conference titled Sovereignty Implementation Plan, alongside Settlement Council leaders, he criticized the United Nations and countries recognizing the Palestinian state. Smotrich declared that Israel's annexation of the West Bank is a strategic tool to counter international political attacks against Israel's legitimacy. He firmly stated Israel's absolute opposition to the establishment of a Palestinian state, viewing it as a security threat. Emphasizing broad consensus, he insisted the time has come to annex the West Bank and eliminate the possibility of Palestinian statehood altogether. Hamas has condemned statements by Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich as revealing the true nature of the Israeli occupation government and its settlement policies. They asserted that Israel's settlement plans will never secure the full sense of security that it seeks. Instead, these schemes will only fuel greater resistance and confrontation. Hamas affirmed that the Palestinians will remain steadfast, unwavering in their commitment to their historic rights and principles. Hamas also warned that Israel's attempts to impose new realities on the ground are doomed to fail. Hamas's declarations emphasize resilience against occupation and rejection of settlement expansion as a path to peace or security. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has emphasized Israel must permit aid agencies to enter and distribute humanitarian assistance in Gaza. He reaffirmed the UK's ongoing efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza, ensure the steady flow of aid, and secure the release of the detainees. Highlighting a long-term vision that he confirmed work is underway to develop a peace plan aimed at a two-state solution. Additionally, Starmer stressed that border crossings remain the only sustainable channels for delivering aid to Gaza, underscoring their critical role in humanitarian relief. Starmer's statements reflect the UK's commitment to supporting peace, alleviating suffering, and promoting stability in the region.
And now we must find new, more ambitious ways of working together, firing up our industries, meeting not just the military challenge, but the challenge.
Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul Gheit has emphasized that the paramount challenge ahead is preserving the Palestinian state project, which Israel aims to erase through displacement and land seizures. Speaking at the Economic and Social Council's ministerial session, he stressed the importance of sustaining and empowering Palestinian institutions amid severe existential threats. Abul Gheit condemned the unprecedented brutality faced by Palestinians in Gaza, highlighting the use of starvation as a weapon witnessed globally, while influential powers remain unable to halt the ongoing massacres. He warned that the ultimate goal is to force Palestinians from their land and undermine the two-state solution across Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. He also called on the Arab world to mobilize its economic resources to support Palestinian resilience and institutions.
إتمام عملية الانتقال الديمقراطي في البلاد في أجواء خالية.
Egypt has dispatched its 29th aid convoy under the Zad al-Izza provision or provision of honor from Egypt to Gaza initiative from Rafah to Gaza via Kerem Abu Salim border crossing. Despite ongoing Israeli bombardment on Gaza, efforts continue to deliver aid. That comes as Egypt remains steadfast in its solidarity with the Palestinians, emphasizing its readiness to allow thousands of aid trucks into Gaza once Israeli barriers are lifted, and highlighting its tireless humanitarian relief and medical support for Palestinians. Aid delivery to Gaza faces major hurdles, including, of course, Israeli inspections, restricted crossings, security threats, and even damaged infrastructure, worsening humanitarian needs.
كل المستهدفين هن مدنيين.
الوضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
The UN Interim Force in Lebanon has reported that Israeli drones dropped 4 grenades near its personnel while they were clearing obstacles near the Blue Line. This attack is among the most serious against UNIFIL since the November ceasefire, with 1 grenade landing just 20 meters from peacekeepers and 3 others about 100 meters away. The drones were seen returning south of the Blue Line. Israel had been informed in advance about UNIFIL's work in the area. Following the incident, UNIFIL suspended operations to ensure peacekeepers' safety. The UN force condemned any actions endangering its personnel or interfering with its mission, holding Israel responsible for safeguarding UN peacekeepers under international law and Security Council Resolution 1701. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has called for upholding the values of solidarity and social cohesion to forge a unified Lebanon founded on love, justice, and human dignity. He urged rejection, division, and sectarianism, emphasizing the importance of national unity as one people sharing a single homeland. Aoun reaffirmed the state's commitment to safeguarding the rights of all the citizens without discrimination and pursuing sustainable development alongside social justice. His message highlights the urgent need for harmony and equal rights to build a resilient, inclusive society capable of overcoming Lebanon's challenges and securing a prosperous future for all its people. Meanwhile, Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has emphasized the urgent need to extend state authority over all Lebanese territory, prioritizing the implementation of the At-Ta'if Agreement's call to monopolize arms under state control. Salam affirmed that this path is irreversible and essential for Lebanon's national unity. Reports reveal the Lebanese army's phased plan to confiscate all the illegal weapons, including Hezbollah's arsenal, starting in areas with fewer arms. That came as Hezbollah rejected this armament, calling it unconstitutional and imposed by foreign pressures, asserting the resistance role in defense and liberation. Despite a ceasefire since November 2024, Israeli violations and occupation of Lebanese hills persist, escalating regional tensions. Israel conditions withdrawal on Lebanon's disarmament plan, which Beirut has formally presented but received no Israeli response. Moving on to Damascus, where Syrian media has reported an explosion caused by leftover war munitions near Damascus International Airport. The official news channel posted on X that remnants of war detonated close to the airport. The Syrian Civil Aviation Authority clarified that these sounds originated from safely detonating old war debris about 40 kilometers away from the airport. They confirmed that Damascus International Airport remains fully operational and secure, with normal air traffic unaffected. The Damascus region and surrounding areas frequently experience explosions linked to repeated Israeli strikes on former regime military sites, alongside daily incursions in the southern region. Despite these incidents, airport operations continue smoothly, ensuring no disruption to flights or security. Moving on to Russia, where the Kremlin has swiftly responded to U.S. President Donald Trump's post accusing Russian, Chinese, and North Korean leaders of conspiring against the United States during a military parade in Beijing. Russian presidential aide Yuri Yushakov denied any such conspiracy, stating that Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un have no plans against the United States. He emphasized that everyone understands the role of the U.S. and the Trump administration and Trump himself play on the global stage. Earlier, Trump had addressed Xi Jinping on his social platform, urging him to send warm regards to Putin and Kim and accusing them of plotting against America. Romanian Energy Minister Bogdan Ivan has revealed that the country is negotiating with the European Commission to delay shutting down 2.6 gigawatts of coal-fired generation by at least 5 years. Ivan noted that Romania will send Brussels a study showcasing the negative impact on the economy and power market that will be triggered by shutting down coal assets by 2026. He also highlighted that Romania expected to add 12.96 gigawatts worth of new gas, nuclear, wind and solar power units by 2032 using EU funds as well as private and state investments, including 2.25 gigawatts in storage capacity. And this brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here is what we have been covering. Egypt's president and Bahrain's crown prince firmly reject the displacement of Palestinians. Israeli finance minister threatens to dismantle the Palestinian Authority. Israeli drones drop 4 grenades near UN entering force and Lebanon personnel. And this concludes our news bulletin for the hour. But don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at QNews EG to always stay informed. My name is Hala Al-Hamalawi. Thank you so much for being with us.